those dimensions of diversity I told you about, right? The bubbles on the screen. Here's the reality, going back to identity. The way you and I identify our full identity is not just one of those dimensions, right? Of course not. You may be black, but you're not just black, right? You may be a black woman, you may be a black queer woman, you may be a black post-secondary educated woman, etc. And so, the reality is that you and I are layered as human beings, as individuals. Those layers of identifiers create unique experiences for each of us, even within our shared identity groups. So, our identity is more about how those dimensions of diversity intersect and collide to create unique experiences for each of us, also informing our relationship with power, with privilege, with marginalization, etc. And so I'm going to use an example just to kind of break it down for us. On the screen, you see myself and my friend Sarah. Sarah and I are both millennials. We've done all the things that millennials are known to do. We have a lot in common. We have, prolonged adulting as long as we possibly could. As long as we could. We have had a short stint at home with the parents after graduation. We've done all the things that millennials are known to do. But Sarah and I are not just millennials, right? Of course not. Our experience within the world is not the same, even though we share a generational identity. Why is it not the same? Because of intersectionality. There are other layers to Sarah and I's identity that shape and inform our experience within the world, within organizations, just as much, if not more, than our generational identity. And again, this is about how these identities intersect and collide to create unique experiences, but also to inform our relationship with privilege in society. And so I wanted you to look at racial identity. When you look at our racial identity, one of us, let's say we're in this room, and this room reflects the demographic makeup of the United States. Sarah and I are in this room based solely on our racial identity. One of us is going to experience this space with more privilege than the other. Sarah. And so Sarah then has an opportunity, if not a responsibility, as an inclusive individual, to ally and advocate for me in ensuring that this space is just as inclusive of my blackness as it is of Sarah's whiteness. Now, let's look at a different identifier though. Look at perhaps education. I'm blessed to be a very proud graduate of the North Carolina State University right down the road in Raleigh. Yeah, go Pack, any Pack? Okay, excellent, I love it. I have the opportunity to have a college degree. Sarah, on the other hand, has a high school diploma. Let's say this room is indicative and reflective of American society, demographically speaking. One of us is going to experience this space with more privilege than the other in regards solely to that identifier. Who is it, me or Sarah? Me. So then I have an opportunity to ensure that this space is just as inclusive and accessible for Sarah and her educational background as it is of my educational background and my experiences. And so here's the reality. This may be a surprise to some of us. Each and every one of us have some degree of privilege. If you're in this room, you have some degree of privilege. If you walked into this room, you have some degree of privilege. If you can hear me speaking now, you have some degree of privilege. So each and every one of us have some degree of privilege, some more than others, which is why identity is important.